For my midterm assignment, I was fortunate enough to read A Streetcar Named Desire, which was written by American playwright Tennessee Williams. And Tennessee Williams was actually formerly known by his real name, which was Thomas Leonard Williams III. He was born and raised, not born, but he was born in Columbus, Mississippi, but then he had moved to St. Louis, Missouri, where he had spent a majority of his life, and actually where he'd spent his youth, as well as leading up into college. So he actually attended the University of Missouri. Unfortunately, he did not have the best of family life, especially with his father. He did not have a strong connection. His father kind of seemed to drive the aggression force in the family. He had actually withdrawn his son from the University of Missouri when he had found out his girlfriend had actually attended the university as well. So as you could see, there wasn't the best of relationships when it comes to family, especially with his father. His father had actually been the driving force for Big Daddy in one of the American playwrights. So it's funny how parents kind of jived like that. So Thomas turned to more of his writing. He fell into deep depression. He had been all over the place. He suffered a nervous breakdown, and he had actually moved to New Orleans, and he had actually finished college, the University of Iowa. Unfortunately, he suffered from alcoholism, and he was a drug addict. Unfortunately, he passed away in a New York City hotel room in 1983, where he was unable to escape his demons. But before then, he was able to publish a few more works, including his memoirs, which was published in 1975. For my work, I had A Streetcar Named Desire, which had highlighted the main characters of Blanche Du Bois, Stella Kowalski, Stanley Kowalski, which were our main characters, as well as our antagonists and protagonists. Our protagonist was Blanche, who had come in, a troubled soul, looking to live with her sister and her new husband, and not her new husband, but her husband, in two-bedroom apartment in New Orleans. And there had, obviously been some tension between, sexual tension between Blanche and Stanley, the husband, who, obviously did not show much respect to Blanche, had really tried to undermine Blanche the majority of the play, obviously threatening her, telling Mitch, especially that she knows of her troubled past, of where she'd been. She was an English teacher and had been put on leave for her bad nerves, but we later find out that she had actually slept with a teenage student from the high school. So we saw that, and that is later released to Mitch, her new love, which is a friend of Stanley. We actually see them combine, and they state to each other that they're needed for each other, that they need this love, that they both have lost loved ones in the past. Unfortunately, later to find out that Mitch has been notified of all the wrongdoings that Blanche has done in the past, and then unfortunately he says that he doesn't want a girl like her, and then he tries to force himself on her. And then this actually leads to Stanley, unfortunately, trying to lead himself onto Blanche as well when she was in her most vulnerable, as well as very drunk, and saying that she's leaving off with Chappelle and then going to be a millionaire, leaving this place, and obviously he's saying this in her head. And then he unfortunately rapes her, and not even her own sister Stella Kowalski would believe her. Stella is so much into her own world and trying to not believe that she could ever hear of her Stanley. Later in the end of the play, Blanche is coming out of the shower, where she is escorted from the doctor and the nurse who had taken her to an insane asylum, where she had originally thought she was going to go off with Shep and live the rest of her happy life, who had actually going to provide her financial aid. As we see the close of the play, we see Stella bawling, and Stanley just watching his plan unfold as he saw Blanche get taken away. She resisted, but she ended up giving in, and she couldn't handle it. What did I think most about the play was, I thought it was a fantastic play, a little bit darker. Definitely had some twists and turns, a lot more mature piece. I definitely liked it. It was a lot more different than like Shakespearean writing. I definitely loved the American drama. It definitely connects well on like a personal level, I thought. Definitely thought that when restrictions lighten up, I would love to see this on stage. I would love to see this come to life. I think this is a beautiful play, and I loved reading line to line. It was fantastic.